You probably clicked on this video because you wanted to see if you or your child should apply to NUS High. Well, here's the video for you. But before that, here's a quick introduction. Hi, I'm currently an NUS High student studying in Year 6. This video will be a guide to whether you should come to this school and some of the things I wish I knew when I signed up when I was in P6 such a long time ago. Here's a blurred out image of my school ID. I don't want the school to come after me if I say anything they don't like, but keep in mind that the school is changing their syllabus and it might be very different by the time I've graduated, so take what I say with a grain of salt. But based on what I've heard, the main strengths and weaknesses of the school will be about the same in the end. So let's start with what NUS High School is. NUS High School is a school that focuses on math and science. It's 100% DSA via math and science. This means that when you come to this school, you need to take both a math and science exam in order to enter. From my experience, it's just a harder version of the PSLE math and science exams. I'm not sure what people think of NUS High School nowadays, but I'll just say that the school is nothing like RI or Hwa Chong. You should not always expect to perform well if you come to this school, and in many ways, the curriculum is harder than what's taught in other schools. This is because of the focus on math and science. It means that the curriculum is very skewed in this direction. While in some JCs, students may take 7+ subjects, in the later years of NUS High, you can take as few as 4 main subjects. But all the science lessons are 1.5 hours long in lower years, and 2 hours each in higher years. This might sound okay at first, but keep in mind that biology, physics, and chemistry are not part of a combined science class, and each subject is taught twice a week. This means that NUS High students will have 9 to 12 hours of science classes and 4 to 5 hours of math classes each week, not counting any extra classes they may choose to take. But the school gives students the opportunity to learn research skills from a young age. From year 1, we have in-house classes that teach skills like prototype sketching, research process, and methodology. This takes up a continuous 4-hour slot, though teachers will very often release students earlier. In year 4 onwards, students will be encouraged to take part in research attachments to institutes like NUS, NTU, SUTD, DSO, etc. This is, in my opinion, one of the best parts about being in the school. I'm going to keep this section short, so for more details about what programs are available in the school, go check out the website. I'll leave a link in the description. So, should you join NUS High? If you're looking at NUS High as one of your options, there are a few questions you should ask yourself. Firstly, do you like math and science? This might seem like a very obvious question, but passion and interest is a lot more important when it comes to going to this school than just getting an A+ on the PSLE papers. If the answer is immediately a no, don't come here just because your grades on the entry test are good enough. Once you come in here, there's almost nothing else to do but math and science, and you can definitely find better options elsewhere. If you think the answer is a yes, ask yourself if you're going to be mentally present during the 1.5 hour science classes in year 1. If you already fall asleep in science class and only memorize keywords and answer structures to do the science paper exam, then you have problems when things get harder. And you also miss out on things if you aren't interested to do math and science outside the classroom. But if you're a person who likes science and math and reads on things like how AI works or read any science book for fun, even those like dinosaur picture books, you'll probably have fun. Next question. Do you want to be the smartest person and rank number 1 in your class? And is this very important to you? And if this is very important to you, you shouldn't come here, because the way the NUS High curriculum is structured, being number 1 doesn't mean just studying all the subjects. It's frankly impossible. Let's say you get A+ in all your core subjects in year 1. That's not entirely special, because almost everyone does that. But there'll be a few students in your class who gets A+ in the Math Olympiad elective class, and a lot of people actually skip the entire year of math altogether and study the year 2 syllabus. In the higher levels, if you want to take part in Olympiad chemistry competitions, you need to choose between one of a few Olympiads. And so let's say you pick chemistry, and while you're preparing for the chemistry Olympiad, you might be balancing all your other different graded assignments in order to get a good result for everything. However, there will be one guy who doesn't care about anything but chemistry Olympiad, and he will intentionally flunk everything else just so he can study for chemistry Olympiad. He'll be the top of your class and in chemistry Olympiad, and it's not possible for you to beat him. And if you come to this school expecting to be perfect at everything, you're going to burn out really quickly. Third question. Do you want to relax for 5 years straight and then cram in 1 year like PSLE, or continuously put in effort for 4 to 5 years straight and then relax for 1 year? NUS High is a very different system from many other IP schools. Even though we call it IP, it's actually more similar to IB. Starting from year 3, all your graded projects, tests, assignments, and exams will count into your final grade. In say normal RIIP, you go into RI and relax for 4 years, more or less as long as you don't fail too badly, and you go into RIJC, and then you take A-levels. So during that time, a lot of students will cram the entire year before A-levels. But in NUS High, you need to put in consistent effort if you want to maintain good grades. But in year 6, you actually get to relax a bit more as the school gives less workload and it lets you explore other things. But in year 5, it sometimes really feels like the world is ending when you have 7 deadlines in 2 weeks. So if you're better at just churning PSLE than consistently doing work, don't come here. Next question. Are you going to just do the bare minimum? If you're thinking of coming to NUS High School, you're probably a smart student. Maybe primary school was too easy for you and you just relaxed most of the year. But if you come to NUS High and do the bare minimum just to study for your exams, or heck, don't even study for them, you're going to just be wasting your time. Your parents will only push you so far, and if you stop the second they push you, then it can't be helped. There are a ton of opportunities you can take up in this school. I ask people sometimes whether they're going for a student exchange program or an overseas student academic program, and when people say no, I think it's a massive waste. SCP basically accepts anyone who signs up, and you get to go overseas to experience what school is like in other countries. It's something a lot of RI and Hwa Chong students will never get to do until uni. If you want to try something new, you should come. But if you're too lazy to sign up for things, go to RI where their programs are compulsory and you have to do things. Last question. This question is going to apply mostly to students from neighborhood primary schools. Are you mentally prepared to come to the quote-unquote nerd school? Think of maybe a time where you told the teacher they were wrong and explained the right answer. Maybe some of your friends called you a nerd, and maybe you like being that. But in NUS High, there will be a lot of people way nerdier and way weirder than you. And I remember there was this person in my class who would randomly stand up in the middle of class to go in front to apply hand sanitizer. And he's like a nice person at all, but like it's just a little bit weird that he does this in the middle of lesson, and every class will have someone like him. And if you think that these weird people are interesting and fun, then you probably fit right in here. But if you don't really like them, you might want to consider somewhere else. Okay, I've talked about a lot about whether you should come, but why should you? I'll go into that now. NUS High has the most rigorous STEM curriculum in the country for secondary school and JC level studies. Even talking about our base syllabus, by year 5, we're already 1 year ahead of even our IP counterparts in science classes. In international Olympic competitions, even though our 180 students are competing against like RIs and Hwa Chong's 1,000 each for slots in the national team, we regularly get 2 to 3 slots as a school. Despite our small population, we're favourites in many of the big STEM competitions. The small population size of 180 also has a lot of advantages. You have about 26 to 28 students per class, so teachers can focus on individual students more, especially the weaker ones. Some teachers will hold 1 to 5 remedial sessions, some even 1 to 1 for struggling students. We go to labs a lot as well, and there are like 60 classes in the entire school, but about 13 science labs. This means we have practicals about once every 2 weeks, which is much more than other schools. NUS High has opportunities that other schools just don't have. In fact, there are so many things to do, you can't possibly sign up for everything. Here's a good example. Pre-U seminar is a very prestigious event for some schools. I heard that in RI or Hwa Chong, over 100 students signed up and they had to go through 2 phases of interviews just to select like 12 people. In NUS High School, so few people signed up that even though this was a year 5 program, year 6s were allowed to sign up and everyone got accepted. I remember that the teacher in charge for Pre-U Sem in NUS High said that to other schools, Pre-U Sem is the highlight of their year, but to NUS High, it's, quote, just another event. I'll list out all the different events and opportunities I can recall that NUS High students can take part in. And you can see that there are many opportunities, and there are probably many more that I haven't included here. Another, maybe less well-known fact about coming to NUS High is much less competitive inside the school. All the above opportunities I mentioned, they are mostly entirely accessible to the average student and not something you have to be a top-tier RI student in order to get. Generally, the school culture is a lot less of a rat race compared to other schools because we don't do bell curve, so as long as you perform your best, you get the grade you deserved. It creates an environment where strong students will help their friends in class, and bullying is virtually not a problem in the school, at least for my cohort. The NUS High Diploma is also internationally recognized, and we have one of the highest acceptance rates into overseas top universities, higher than both Hwa Chong and RI. And short of completely messing up your grades, you're almost guaranteed into any NUS course of your choice except for the more competitive ones like Math CS double degree. So, obviously, after talking about all the pros of coming to NUS High, I have to talk about the cons as well. So, why not come? NUS High's strengths are also its weaknesses. Because NUS High is mainly strong only in math and science, if you're looking to be all-rounded, this is probably not the school you're looking for. Our sports clubs always lose at national school games, and CCAs in this school are generally treated as a joke by a lot of the students. We only take one humanities class at a time, and a large amount of us drop this by year 4. This means that whether you want to or not, by coming to this school, you're committing yourself to be strong in STEM, math, and science, but missing some things students from other schools might learn. NUS High School has also the longest class hours of any school. If you pick a lot of classes, you may end up going home at 6 p.m. every day, and that's considering we only have 1/3 of the CCA hours other schools have. If you don't like staying in school so long, maybe go to another school where you have more time to explore interests outside of school. Having so many opportunities also means that if you don't know how to manage yourself, you might sign up for too many things and burn out. This is especially the case in upper years where more subjects have projects and deadlines that are set months away. You'll suffer the most in this school if you cannot manage your time. The culture here is also very different from other schools. Because we take all our classes in primary school style, not lecture style, with the same group of people from 3 years straight, people develop very strong relations to people in their class, but the overall cohort culture is a bit weak. And there's no bad feelings between classes, it's just we don't do all that school cheering stuff that other schools do. Compared to NUS High, RI and Hwa Chong have one big advantage. The schools are rich. Our school has, for the last few years, experienced a lot of funding cuts, and we don't have the money bigger schools have. The specialized labs we have are very good, but they're also very expensive, and a lot of the budget goes into maintaining them. Our small school population means that canteen vendors find it very difficult to profit, and the food ends up being so-so. There are a lot of problems when the school is short on money. They cut budget to CCAs, really don't like funding student-initiated things, and sometimes make questionable decisions on how they spend their money. And also, because there are so many events, teachers are very overworked and have to oversee and manage like 5 different things at the same time. It's very common that when students come up with new ideas, they're shut down because the teacher doesn't have time to oversee it and make sure nothing goes wrong. So yeah, that's all for this video. If you have any questions, you can leave a comment and maybe I'll answer.